Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Generational Run podcast, a podcast for the Yankees fans and the people who know ball. I'm your host, Mads. If you're watching this, it's probably because you stumbled across my Twitter page at one time or another, and whether it's a daily good morning post or a post where I'm absolutely shredding apart the Yankees management, you guys have seen and liked it all. And some of you guys have liked it so much that you encouraged me to start my own podcast. So here we are. If you know me, you know that this is something that I've wanted to do for quite some time. And so I'm so excited that we are finally bringing it to fruition. And before I introduce my guest for tonight, I just want to give a huge shout out to Chris and Rob from the New York MLB Talk podcast for letting me come on their show multiple times to get a feel for the podcast world and for even letting me announce my own podcast on their show the other night. So, our guest today is a student at Ithaca College studying sports media and journalism. She is the first woman to be on the broadcast call for Ithaca College football on 91.7 WICB radio as the sideline reporter. You can also find her talking about all things Cornell men's ice hockey, Cornell athletics, and sports betting on Ithaca College television. She also serves as a social media manager for the Ithaca Club Ice Hockey. She is a huge New York sports fan with quite possibly the most interesting mix of team affiliations. And she is also someone that I have happened to know since middle school. So let's give a big welcome to Molly Golden.
What's up? I'm so excited
Hi.
to be here.
I am so excited. This is like Molly and I, if we were just talking, if our seventh grade selves knew what we were doing right now, they would be like over the moon. They would be so happy.
They'd be so happy with us, and they'd be so proud that we've stayed connected throughout all this time. You know,
Yeah.
Mads and I met when we were in seventh grade in the back of our seventh grade math class, just living life, and we had no idea that a global pandemic was coming, and like just hanging out, barely surviving seventh grade math. But now we are in college, and so thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for being, oh my God, I'm the first one ever, which is crazy. But yeah, thank you. I'm so excited.
This is huge. Thank you. You're very brave for doing this. We've never done this before. So Molly is a huge Mets fan. I'm a huge Yankees fan. We've always kind of talked about the rivalry. But before we get into the Yankees and Mets, I kind of want to I want you to tell everyone your story. I see where you are today. You know, I've seen what you do for your school's athletic program. It just amazes me how incredible you are and how passionate and how driven you are. So give us a little background.
Yeah, so let me take you back to high school. Mads and I went to different high schools. I went to a private high school in our town, and I began sort of this trend of sports content. I really wanted to create sort of a media reporting outlet because our athletic social media team didn't do a great job of reporting stuff and reporting scores and keeping fans updated in the moment. So I saw a hole and I was able to fill it. And I was one of the first to introduce live in-game coverage on our school social media pages for football games and volleyball games. So I'd run around my high school like a crazy person. I'd be at football, and next day I'd be at volleyball and basketball. So that was kind of my start. I've always known I wanted to do sports. I grew up in a big sports house. My brother plays hockey. I always was surrounded by sports as a kid, and I really wanted to just live the rest of my life like that. So I remember when I was applying, I've known I wanted to be a sports broadcaster probably since I was 10 years old. Seeing like, you know, my biggest role models of Erin Andrews and Linda Cohn and like all of those those huge sports women who I admire so much. I want to be like them one day. That is the ultimate dream for me, and seeing how they inspire me every single day. So then I get to college, and I was one of maybe let's call it five. I was one of maybe five women in my first ever sports radio meeting, and I was terrified. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? How did I end up here? And then pretty much my freshman year of college was the best year of my life. I'll just put it as simple as that. I was covering Cornell athletics for over in Ithaca, New York here. I'm covering Ithaca athletics, and was on 3 different TV shows. I'm play-by-play and color on games. I'm be able to sideline reporter. I'm hosting studio shows. I'm on podcasts talking about sports and everything. So it is so crazy of how we ended up here. And then I got a really big opportunity over in the spring to audition for our broadcast on our radio network for all Ithaca College football games this coming up year. On 91.7 WICB is our school's radio station. We broadcast all Ithaca College football games. I got the opportunity to audition for a sideline reporter gig, and I was honestly not thinking I was going to get it. I was one of the youngest auditioning for the role, and the only girls auditioning for the role. So I was a little nervous, most definitely. And then I woke up this is a great story. I was actively on the air calling my school's baseball semifinal championship at Cornell because our field was, it was wet here. So we had to go over to the turf field at Cornell. And I got a text from the incoming sports director, who said, "Congratulations, Molly, your sideline on the Bomber Radio Network." And I was actively on the airwaves calling a baseball game. So I couldn't react. I couldn't say anything. I grab my phone. I show one of my best friends who I was broadcasting with at the time, who did graduate this past spring. And like, we got off the air almost as immediately as we could. And we started like jumping up and down and like hugging each other. And I was like, it was the craziest moment. And like, it's hard for me to put into words, honestly, what that role has meant to me so far. I work with the most amazing team of broadcasters. I can't commend my team more enough for being able to product that we put out every single week. And I did some digging and I found out I'm the first I'm the first woman in history to be on this broadcast as a play-by-play, a color commentary, or a sideline reporter. There's been other women on the pregame coverage and the halftime coverage, but there's never been a woman on the actual broadcast call. So being that first and that trailblazer is something I am very, very grateful for, and having the opportunity to do so. And in addition to all this, I'm still, I serve as a Cornell analyst on one of our other shows. So I talk all things Cornell athletics. I talk sports betting in one of our other shows. I have a weekly sports cast. So I just run around and I talk sports all day. And I could not love it anymore. So that is pretty much where we are now as of September 29th. And yeah, that's Molly Golden for you.
You're just incredible. And can I add that she does all of this and still has time to vlog her days in the life on TikTok. I look forward to it every week.
Yes, this is actually all my dad actually inspired me to do this, because with radio, you never see my face. You never see my face. You only hear my voice. So it's definitely an adjustment that I'm going through. But my dad was like, you should do something behind the scenes to show people what your life is like at games. So now I have a series of where I vlog my game days. I start them. It literally, each one is so different. And that's why I love doing it so much, because my first ever game day, I was so nervous. I didn't even vlog half of the time because I was just like running around like a crazy person.
You're just running on adrenaline. You're not thinking of anything else.
My next game day, we were going to, and we had an away game. So we traveled with the entire team all season. My next game day, we woke up at 5:45 in the morning. So to start the hair and makeup process, because all of my male counterparts, they get to wake up at like an hour. They get to wake up like an hour before. We all have to be at our meeting point, just like get in the shower, do their hair. No, I need 2 hours. I need 2 hours because this hair takes a while, this makeup takes a while, and it takes me at least a half an hour to pick an outfit because I am so picky with what I wear. But I love doing my game day vlogs. And if you guys do want to tune in, I can't. It's Molly Golden on TikTok with an extra N. My TikTok is the TikTok is the craziest like mix of content you're ever gonna get for me. But you have my ats right here, so I'll just plug that.
Yes,
that's my Instagram. Perfect. That's my Instagram, Molly Golden Sports, and then that is my Twitter, right there.
Perfect.
But follow Mads on Twitter first, guys. She's the ultimate Twitter warrior.
I wanted to talk about that because I've always wanted to start a podcast. It was always just, what are you going to talk about? Because you need to find a topic that you can constantly roll out content with. Like that was the only thing that was stopping me from doing it. I could not figure out what I wanted to consistently talk about. And then back in May, I started posting on Twitter, just, going on rants when the team was playing horribly. Just how are you playing such bad baseball? And that was kind of my outlet to just like let everything out. And to my surprise, the account started getting quite a bit of traction, so much more than I was expecting. And that's when I really sat back and I thought to myself, wow, people really want to hear what I have to say, right? They're getting excited to see my posts. And then one day, it was the middle of the night, finally clicked. I was going to start a podcast about the Yankees, and this is where we are today. So
No, Mads and I followed each other on Twitter just because like we both got Twitter in like high school, but like we barely used it. Like we just
I
got
got
Twitter.
Twitter
Like,
March 13th, 2020, literally the
yeah,
day the world shut down.
yeah, I got Twitter also like in maybe 2020 or 2021, and like I barely went on it.
Mhm.
I barely used it, and like we just both saw saw each other on Twitter, and we both just like click followed each other. And then I would like, and I barely checked it at first, but now I'm like a Twitter fiend because now that's
Yeah,
how
I'm on it. I'm on it more than I'm on TikTok. It's like
it's
I
so
love it.
bad. It's so bad. So just seeing the evolution of her content like was mind-boggling to me. Like I would be sitting at my internship and I have my 3 computers out in my newsroom that I did this summer, and half of my computer and one of my computers was just dedicated to having Twitter out all times. And I would just see like the amount of interactions that you were getting on your stuff, and I was like, "Oh my god, like this girl's legit." I was like, "This girl's legit. Like she's getting more impressions than me." And I was so impressed, and especially with the world of like Yankees Twitter, like sport Twitter is a different brawl. It's a different breed. It can get scary sometimes. I
For
get
sure.
scared.
Oh yeah.
It can get scary
There's sometimes I
So,
get afraid to hit post. I'm like, oh my God, what are people gonna say about this one? But you know
so
what? Like someone asked me the other day, like, oh, how did you get famous? And I don't consider myself famous, but when you look at like interviews of people talking about how they got to where they are, and the interviewer will say, oh, like how did you blow up on TikTok or Twitter or whatever? How did you get famous? And they're like, well, I don't know. It happened to me. I have no idea. Like I just started posting, people started interacting. It was a lot of positive interaction, but
yeah,
again, I don't choose my algorithms. It just happens.
no,
I don't know why my stuff gets fed to certain people's feeds and why it doesn't for other people. It just happens. So now I understand like when people my family members will say, "Oh, well, how do you have so many followers?" I'll say, "I don't know."
the algorithm is the stupidest thing on the planet, and
Yeah.
it
Watch,
bless
we're gonna
you.
get shadow banned after that.
I'm gonna get shadow banned for saying that, but I don't care. I'm being honest. The algorithm is insane. I have been I've been blessed by the TikTok algorithm occasionally. But like my Twitter stuff is just not it. I'm trying.
You're
Follow
gonna
my
get
Twitter.
there. We're gonna give you lots of shout outs. Yeah, follow Molly on Twitter.
Half of my Twitter is just me retweeting my other broadcasters when we plug our broadcasts. But like, please, please.
All right, let's get into the Yankees and the Mets because I know that's what people are really here for. So, I debated if I wanted to reschedule recording this today because I feel like you were kind of upset yesterday. Let's hear about that.
Okay. My thing is this is the most Met way they could have done it, guys. This is the most Met thing that the Mets could have done to mess this all up, because in the middle of all of this, the Reds still lost. Let's remember that. The Mets needed a Mets win and a Reds loss to squeeze into the wild card. The Reds lost. So like they were literally in control of their own destiny and they still lost. And it was just classic Met baseball, man. And like I have really, really tried to work on myself and not try to like be your average like Frank the Tank, like scream and yell. And I had my broadcast locked, so I couldn't even watch the game. I have like Howie Rose in my ear, and I'm trying to like also prep for one of my like prep for the week. And I'm like, oh my God, like I was just by the time it was 4-0, like it was like 3-0, I was like, yep, nope, I'm done. And after like the 5th, like Francisco Alvarez strikeout, I was like, yep, nope, I'm good. Season's over. It was fun while it lasted. I think that's really what I'm telling myself. But yeah, I'm not that upset about it because in reality, we would have gotten blown out in the first wild card. There's just that magic from 2024 is just not there anymore, and that passion and that drive that they had, I do not see it there anymore.
It was a special year for sure.
I don't think it's there. So I don't think, and it would have been more brutal to watch this team suffer through a wild card than just what happened last night. So did I expect this? 100%, 100 million%. So I'm not that upset about it. Obviously it's not fun to see your team get pushed out of a playoff, but like I'd rather have that happen than versus getting blown out in a wild card.
Right. And I just think it just comes with the season. There's 162 games. You work from first day of spring training to the last day of the regular season, you want all of that work to pay off. And when it doesn't, it is disappointing. And it makes you think, like, the Yankees also, Toronto had a tiebreaker over the Yankees. And so if you go back to April, to May, to June, and you think of all of those games that you blew in the ninth, or you had a crazy 8-run lead and you gave that up, if you think of just one of those games that you didn't blow, and the whole outcome would be completely different. It's just people don't like to hear it in April. They say, "Oh, there's still 100 and however many games left. Like we're fine." But when it comes down to the last game of the season and your opponent has a tiebreaker over you, you wanted to win that one game in April. Like you'd be in a totally different position now. We would have had a bye. We wouldn't be playing in a wild card right now. It wouldn't have been we would have clinched on Saturday instead of, losing the division on Sunday. It would be totally different.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. I mean, I have no part in this wild card coming up. This is my favorite time of the year. When everyone's like, "Oh, you're sad because the Mets are out." No, I'm actually happy because I get to watch all the people around me lose their god you know what minds, and I am so excited to watch it all happen and unfold.
It's like in Mean Girls when Regina's just watching like everyone go crazy.
I'm Regina George in my black turtleneck watching everything just happen, and I just sit there with a smile on my face, and it's the best feeling in the whole world that I do not need to stress about my Mets making a playoff run right now, because in reality, like I said earlier, it wasn't going to happen. But now the fact that I get to watch this wild card and watch both of these fan bases just implode is so warm, is just making my heart happy.
So let me ask you, let's get your World Series picks. Since you guys are out of it, what do you...
Okay. I think the Dodgers are on just such a heater right now. You can't stop the Dodgers, unfortunately. My NL picks the Dodgers, and I don't like, this just sucks. I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about when I say this. I don't pay attention to the AL. I really don't, just because my Mets are the only thing I care about in the NL. In the AL, I don't know. Yeah, I just think I think the Dodgers have the ability to go back to back. I just think they have put so much money and time into their roster and their capabilities. I think they're really going to push for this World Series. I think they've got so much momentum coming off of them right now, especially with this roster that they have and the whole Clayton Kershaw thing that just happened. I think they've just got all the reasons in the world to go back to back.
I agree.
I don't know.
And they have a completely healthy pitching rotation. They did not have that in the World Series last year.
Which is so rare, especially in October, to have such a healthy rotation, which I think is going to be something that I think a lot of people are forgetting about. And the fact 100%. That I think a lot of people are forgetting about that, but I'm really excited to see how they do. And I'm really, I feel like this Boston New York wild card is going to shake some things up, regardless of who wins or not. Like, irregardless of who wins or not, this is going to move a lot of this is going to be a lot of momentum and a lot of movement all around, and I do think it's going to be really interesting to all happen. But there's one thing that cannot happen, and it's the Philadelphia Phillies. If they're the Philadelphia Phillies, I cannot stand the Philadelphia Phillies. You can clip this and do whatever you want. Hey, Bryce Harper, this is my message for you. I hate you. I actually hate you. And you can't beat the Mets, Bryce Harper. It's that simple. You can't pull up to Citi Field trolling with the orange cleats and then you get fucked and you get 13 runs put on you. Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, Nick Castellano, all those people, I can't stand you. I can't stand the Philadelphia Phillies. So nothing will make my heart happier if the Phillies get knocked out immediately. I don't like either of these. I don't. It's just so, because like, I don't like the Yankees. I don't like the Red Sox. I don't like either. I don't like either of these teams. But so I just am excited for everything to implode around me and the Phillies to lose.
See, I made my bracket. I want a 2009 World Series rematch. I want the Yankees. I want the Phillies. But the Dodgers, like you said, they have a crazy good pitching rotation. They have Kershaw, who's on his last year. Like, that would be so cool to go out
I think
as a World Series champion. But also, like, I obviously want the Yankees to win the World Series. But at the same time, I can't be mad if they don't because they lost Garrett Cole. They lost their ace. We are so lucky that Max Fried stepped up when he did. And then we ended up losing Clark Schmidt a few months later. So our rotation just had so many holes in it. And the amount of people that, when Garrett Cole went down, said, oh, they're not even going to be a playoff contender was insane. So the fact that we made it as far as we did, we did have Will Warren come up. He was probably too early to come up, but we were basically desperate. We had Cam Schlittler come up in July, who has been absolutely insane. He's going to be our wild card game 3 starter if we play that game. So just the fact that we made it this far with the resources that we were basically left with would be incredible, because you're going from all of these people saying that you're not even going to contend for a wild card spot to now, they're in the wild card facing the Red Sox, like the greatest baseball rivalry. It's huge just to have made it that far. And, the team, they kept the spirits up. The morale is there. They're on a hot streak right now. All of our power hitters, they're hitting. So I'm very excited. I'm on it. I'm very proud of the team. I still want them to win the World Series, but I'm proud of them for just, getting to where they are with all of the horrible things that happened before the season even started. So, I mean, I'm excited for the playoffs. I think it's going to be a good year. I think all the teams that are in here, they're all hungry to win. The American League is not, I will say it's not as competitive as the National League. I think the National League, it's a bloodbath. It always has been. The American League, it's a little different because, the Yankees made it to the World Series last year, but you made it by beating Kansas City. You made it by beating Cleveland. You didn't even play Boston. You didn't play Houston. So they did have an easy path to the World Series. They did not play well in the World Series either. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But it's just, if you're going to make it to the World Series this year, you're going to have to beat Boston. You're going to have to beat Toronto. You're going to have to beat Cleveland or Detroit or Seattle to even get there. So I think our chances this year are better anyway. And on paper, I think that we are one of the best teams. That just has to translate into, the game itself. It has to, what's written on paper they have to show that when they play.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I mean, I believe that full-heartedly as well. The NL is just a different breed, and I mean, the NL East in itself, especially this season, has been so insane. Even just you're battling like the NL East ever since, like, for the last 5 years has been an absolute bloodbath, and it's been brutal. And I mean, but the AL is really catching on lately. You mentioned Seattle, and let's talk about that, because the Seattle Mariners are crushing it right now. My friend Devin would not be happy with me if I did not mention his Seattle Mariners, but Seattle's on a freaking heater right now, and I think there is a very good chance that we could see a Dodgers Mariners World Series. I think it's possible. I think that is a very likely shot. I do unfortunately think that both of the I think whoever comes out of this wild card with Boston and New York, I think will be eliminated further down, unfortunately, just because I cannot fathom the heater and how hot the Mariners are right now. They have arguably one of the best players in baseball right now, Cal Raleigh. I think you have such a well-rounded player like him in your roster, and he's not even your star, and he's not even on the field. He's the catcher, and he's able to put up numbers like this. So I think that is so huge. But I think the AL this year has become so much more competitive, and compared to the NL,
especially and Cleveland taking the lead after being 7 or 8 games behind, and then they ended up winning the division. Yeah, that's the type of team you want to see. You want to see a team who's going to push till the very last game. A week ago, it was a question of, are they even going to make the playoffs? And now it's, well, Detroit's been in first all year, but we're going to come and take first from them with 2 games left. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. No, I think the AL is definitely, these next 5 years are going to be very interesting for the American League. I think the power is, the dynamic is shifting a little bit, because the last 5 years it's always been, National League, Dodgers, Mets, all the money over there too. But I think, money, you can only have so much money. You have all these great teams in the AL who don't have all this money in the world. but are outproducing all of these NL teams and outworking all of these NL teams. And then I think an AL team will probably win the World Series this year. I said I said the Dodgers are my NL pick, but I think it's going to be an AL team winning the World Series this year. I think the dynamic is shifting, and I think this postseason is going to be very evident of that.
I agree. And since you brought it up, I'm going to have to ask, even though I think I know the answer, who's your MVP for the American League?
I think it's got to be.
Do you have Cal Raleigh?
I think it's Cal. It's unfortunately Cal. I can't say what I feel about Aaron Judge because it involves some no words, but
that's gonna hurt.
I can't say how I feel about that guy because it involves some no words that I've been told not to say. But I think Cal Raleigh has just been putting up the most insane numbers this year. He's been so consistent and just it's time after time and clutch moments that he's been able to put up numbers and just be able to being able to produce on both sides of his position. I do think Aaron Judge, of course, is a part of that conversation as well. But when you only can produce on one side of your position and you're not the most amazing outfielder that we've ever seen, that leaves the conversation up for Cal Raleigh to come in because he is one of the best catchers in baseball right now. He's also one of the best hitters in baseball right now. So I think there's a little more to Cal Raleigh's case. I understand the Aaron Judge case. I always have understood it. But I think there is just a lot more riding for Cal Raleigh right now.
I agree. I think Cal Raleigh's had an amazing season. You can't deny that. The 60 home runs, the being so valuable at your position. I do still think that Aaron Judge is going to win it. I think the numbers show that. Cal Raleigh's leading in home runs and RBIs. But the other stats will show that he's trying to hit every ball out of the park. He's striking out a lot. He's either striking out or he's hitting a home run. Aaron Judge is hitting for the batting average. He won the batting title for the American League. And, I'm sure, I don't know if you've seen it because I don't know what you're seeing on your Twitter page, but if you lowered Cal Raleigh's OPS by 200 points, he's average. If you lower Aaron Judge's OPS by 200 points, he's Cal Raleigh. So those numbers are kind of where I'm like, okay, I think Aaron Judge is going to win, but I'm also not denying that Cal Raleigh is an amazing player. He's done so much this year, and you have to do a lot to, be recognized like he's being recognized. I think he's a great player. I do think Aaron Judge is going to win, though, but we'll have to wait till November to find out.
I do have to. My Francisco Alvarez comment made. My phone must have been listening to me because I got this. Alvarez is set for thumb surgery in the coming days after playing hurt.
Oh no!
I mean, listen,
it's not easy being a Mets fan.
It's never not. I mean,
That's why you gotta cheer for the Yankees.
No, this is actually a very funny story. This was way back when my dad brought me into the fandom. And there was one day, I think I don't even know. He tells me the story all the time. There was one day he was so sick of being a Mets fan. He was like, screw it. We're Yankees fans now. I wasn't born yet, by the way. He's like, I'm a Yankees fan now. And then he tried to go to a Yankees game and sit through it. He's like, I can't do it. I just can't do it. Because I think it's I always love talking with Yankees fans about these different perspectives. I think it's two very different cultures for the fandoms for these teams. Mets fans, it's a party when you go to when you go to Citi Field. There's music,
it's all business in the Bronx. It's crazy.
It is all business in the Bronx. If you are not watching the game, you are doing something wrong. If you are not watching the game when you are at Yankee Stadium, and have your book out and doing the book with the team, you are doing something wrong. At Citi Field, if you were doing the book, people would look at you weird because you should be up dancing and partying and hanging out with the cowbell guy, or you should be downstairs at the plaza area with a stage and a DJ. It's so fun. It's I love talking about this, just the different cultures between these teams, and then they're so different from each other. And then when they come to play in the Subway Series and Mets fans go to Yankee Stadium and see how business is, and they're like, what is this? And then Yankees fans come to Citi Field and they see that it's a party, and they're like, can we watch? It's just that's my rant.
Can we watch the game?
I try to watch the game.
It's so different.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm so I don't know what it is. I have no attention span. If the Yankees are on, I'm locked in. I'm locked in from the start of the pregame to the end of the postgame, and
Mhm.
then I'm on Twitter afterwards tweeting about either how well they did or, how awful the managing staff is. It's like
Yes.
it's like it's my life.
Mhm.
But you know what? We're passionate about what we do.
Mhm. Yes, we are passionate, and I cannot commend you enough, especially for the content that I see. I love being able to wake up because, like, after some mornings after I know the Yankees like blew a lead and just like being able to see your thoughts on it. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, this is funny. This is funny.
I also I don't hold back. I try not to hold
Which is
back because
great. Which is
obviously
great.
right. Because you see, obviously the managing staff, you have to be careful what you say if you're in that position. Aaron Boone's not going to say Anthony Volpe sucked last night.
No.
He can't do
No.
that.
Media training 101, baby.
We can. you know, it's a different kind of freedom that you have to be able to speak your mind, and it's cool because I've some of my posts have ended up on Fireside Yankees, which I don't know. Do you know what that is?
Not really.
So
No.
it's like it's run by a bunch of guys, and it's like a New York sports thing. They're not affiliated with the Yankees, but like every time they win, they'll post like a hype video. They post they share tweets on their Facebook
Okay, so
page.
it's
So
like a
I've
fan.
ended up on
It's like a
those.
fan account.
Yeah, so I've ended up
Yes.
on there a few times. I was on MLB Elites the other day, and I didn't even know because it was on Instagram. Nobody tagged me. People on
Mhm.
Twitter started sending me the screenshot, and I'm like, "What is this?" I'm thinking like I'm getting trolled.
Yeah.
And I open Instagram and it's like my post is there and it's getting like thousands of views and thousands of likes. I'm like, "How did
Mhm.
I end up here?"
Yeah, crazy, crazy, crazy.
It's just like crazy to see that when you're not holding back, your content is still being shown. It's
Mhm.
not trying to be hidden for, speaking the truth. I said back in, I don't know, maybe August after the Yankees lost like 7 games in a row, I'm like, "You keep saying it's right in front of us, but pretty soon it's gonna be behind us."
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
you can't keep playing like this. You can't say, "Oh, we're gonna win tomorrow." You have to win today. And I was harsh about it, but you know what? It
Mhm.
needs to be said, and it still ended up on some of those major outlets, which is it's cool to see that you are promoting the harsh truth, as harsh as it may be. It's being promoted out there.
No, it's a very I have always been fascinated by, especially now, like 2025 is the year for social media and sports, and it
Right.
is such a cool thing to see, not only from my perspective as an aspiring journalist, but also just for the fans as well too. Casual fans are now becoming influencers. Like, look at someone like Katie Feeney. Like, that is someone who I
Mhm.
admire right now. She is a absolute beast. And actually, who not Katie Feeney, Kate Maniscalco. Let's talk about that girl. Fellow Ithaca
Yes.
College bomber, by the way, Kate Maniscalco. That girl, I've been riding with that girl since day one. I've been riding with since the running videos. I've been
Kate, if
there.
you're watching, if you're watching, we are your biggest fans.
Kate, if you're watching, please, Kate, I emailed you. I've like emailed you like 5 times. Please, I just want to get on a Zoom and talk to you. Like, you are literally my icon and my queen. Like, Kate, I love you so much. Like, baseball for baddies, like, girl, I was there day one. Like, hockey for hot, like hockey for hotties. I'm there, bro. Like, ugh. I love that girl so much, and she's such an inspiration to me. And like, I
Right.
really and she just what she's doing right now, and she got her start with what you're doing, pretty much sports and social media, and she's flying around the country talking to MLB All Stars. So the platform is there. That's basically what my rant is. All of this is into the platform is there. There's so much more opportunities in the sports industry, like that. I like my what I'm learning right now in classes is almost not even relevant to what the media landscape is right now. Like, I'm learning how to write game recap stories for my athletics social media, like my athletics website, when I can just go on ChatGPT and do that myself. Like, I'm not hating on what I'm learning in class right now, but I just think there are so many more spaces and opportunities right now that so many people aren't aware of. And I think the fact that you're taking advantage of that and using your space and your platform to not only, push your message and do what you're doing, but also push your personal brand. I feel like that's so huge right now. Branding is everything, and having your own little personal flairs I think is so huge. And I think you do that so, so well with your good morning tweets. I think that's like the
Thank
thing.
you.
Like, I love the good morning tweet always. Like, I love it because no one else does that. And like, it's so fun. And I just think personal branding is everything, and making yourself different and standing out in a crowd.
I try to. And you know what? I'm friends with all sorts of people on Twitter. Red Sox fans, Mets fans, Yankees, Houston Astros fans. Like
Oh, sorry.
I love the fan interaction. I love getting to hear other people's perspectives because you know what? A lot of times they will comment and, refute something that I said. And
Mhm.
it'll make me think, oh, you know what? You do have a point. Like this is something worth noting. And I love that type of interaction and it's in real time. And in sports, there's always something happening. I joke
Always.
like, what am I going to do in the off season? But there's always something happening. Once baseball season's over, you have, the qualifying offer deadline, you have free agency, winter meetings, and then before you know it, you're back in spring training. Like
Mhm.
there's plenty of time, and there's always something to talk about. Twitter's not going anywhere. TikTok's not going anywhere. This isn't going anywhere. Like we have plenty of content to get us through to the next season
Mhm.
when everything starts up again. And that's what I love about this field. It's so much fun. Okay, so the last thing that I wanted to talk to you about is your thoughts on Juan Soto. I know people are probably going to be like, it's old news, whatever. Like, you're just a Yankee fan still crashing out over it. I'm not crashing out over it, but I wanted to hear your thoughts on it, like the whole situation.
So if you would have asked me, you would have told me you're gonna say the Mets had Juan Soto, I would have laughed in your face. I would have been like, no way. But like Uncle Steve, he just cooks wherever. I was one of the psychos who said I think Pete Alonso deserves a Juan Soto type deal. I think that is wholehearted. I would like when everyone would say, like when we were in the race for Soto all of last year at this time, I would tell everyone I think Pete Alonso deserves a deal of that magnitude. That man went through the entire farm system of the New York Mets and just encapsulates the energy of what it means to be a New York Met. When you think of this Mets team and when you think of that postseason run that they went on last year, your first thought is Pete Alonso, the playoff pumpkin, the energy he always brought to the crowd, just being able to interact with those fans. So that was my take on it. And the fact that Juan Soto does have the contract that he does, I think it's great. I think this season, I knew this season wasn't going to be like, oh my God, program's revolutionary, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's just impossible. That's actually impossible. So I went into the season thinking, all right, let's see how he fits in with this group, this culture, because you're going from two very different cultures. Even if you're still in the same city, there's two very different vibes in those clubhouses regarding especially a guy like Juan Soto with all of this stuff as well. I think he fit in really well and is slowly starting to fit in even more. I think next year will be a big year for him because this is finally, he's going to feel comfortable being in the space. He's not going to feel like the new guy on the block and have this pressure on him. I think now he's going to be able to settle in a little bit more. But in the middle of all of this, we're forgetting that Pete Alonso just opted out of his contract and is going into free agency, which like I'm losing my mind about this, about all of that. So
I'm losing my mind. I'm not even a Mets fan.
yeah, I'm losing my mind over it because as I said earlier, I think Pete Alonso deserved the Juan Soto deal. I think he deserved a deal of that magnitude to be a Met for life and be set for life. So am I worried? 100%. Is this man going to test the market? 100%. Does he deserve to do it? Yes, a million percent. Do I think that David Stearns is an idiot and Steve Cohen are idiots? And do I think that they're not going to fight tooth and nail for this? No, I think they know the value that Pete Alonso brings to this organization. I think they have such a close relationship with him. I think they're going to make the right decision and figure this all out. Do I think that there's money? Yeah, it's Steve Cohen. Of course there's money. Like, come on. But I said this in my radio meeting today and like everyone like freaked out on me about it. I was like, if I read a headline tomorrow that says Juan Soto renegotiates contract so Pete Alonso can stay a Met, I would literally like, I would be like, yep, that's it. Sign. Yep. The team's the best place in the world. I love the Mets. Yep. Just because, listen, is that going to happen? Probably not. The fact that the race went so deep and, the whole thing with the extra mill and all that stuff, whatever. I think that's not going to happen. But just like if it did, I think that would be so huge. And I think it would completely shift the culture in that clubhouse and just completely put the Mets on the right trajectory.
Right. I totally agree. I think this offseason especially is going to be a crazy one. I just think there are a lot of players who, these teams are going to go after. They're going to opt out because they want more money. And I think we're in for a ride. It's going to be crazy.
I'm excited. Nothing gets me
I'm
more
ready
fired
for
up.
it.
Nothing gets me more fired up than seeing some Jeff Passan tweets on my
Jeff
phone.
Passan tweet.
Nothing fires me up like a Jeff Passan tweet. I remember when the Juan Soto tweet came across my phone, I saw it within like 3 seconds.
Oh my God. I'm pretty sure I was the first comment on that one.
I literally
I'm not even kidding.
I didn't normally I'd like text, like I called my dad. I was like, we got him. I was like, my dad's like, what? I'm like, we got him. And then all the news came out and it was crazy. Like
crazy night.
that was crazy. Like, I think my roommate was like terrified. She's like, why are you screaming? I'm like, we got Juan Soto.
And I was like crying. We didn't get Juan Soto.
No, it was so fun to then go to class the next day and see all my Yankee fan friends and be like,
yep. Yeah. Yeah.
hi.
Yeah. Well, I think we did a great job for my first episode.
That was great.
Yeah. I think that's a wrap. So I'd like to give you a huge thank you for joining me and for being my first guest. You're very brave for that. And we're going to have to run it back again.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. We will talk for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you're my first guest. So you will come back another time, I promise.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I will see you next time.
We'll see each other. We'll see each other. We will see you around. All right.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. Well, that was a fun first episode. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Generational Run podcast. If you liked what you saw, be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and hit the follow button on X, and I will see you guys next time.